Thanks for inviting us in at 6 o'clock. And we begin tonight with Governor Mike Braun saying there is no decision yet on whether he will call a special session to redraw Indiana's congressional districts. Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker tonight has more from the governor and what state lawmakers are saying. Emily?
Yeah, if Governor Braun were to call a special session, it would likely have to happen before the end of the year. And that's because in January, lawmakers here go into special session. And that's also the same time that candidates who want to run for Congress would start filing their candidacy. So the clock is ticking on this. Governor Braun said Monday he's waiting to hear what lawmakers think.
You'd have to make sure that most legislators want to do it.
Republicans in the House were reportedly caucusing Monday, coming a day before a deadline to RSVP to an email invitation from the White House. The email doesn't mention redistricting, only that it's a chance for Republican lawmakers to discuss how they can partner with the administration to implement the president's agenda at the state and local level. Governor Braun said the topic of redistricting is at the forefront right now, nationally.
The climate's hot across the country, and here, whether it goes through or not, we'll see. Yes, there will be political pressure put on, and it will be cranked up probably closer you get to the finish line of when they'd like to get it done.
A handful of Republican lawmakers have already come out against a special session to redraw Indiana's maps. Among them, Republican State Representatives Becky Cash, Jim Lucas, and Danny Lopez. Republican State Senator Spencer Deary has also said he's against it. Republican State Representative Ed Clear has also come out against redistricting, saying in part, quote, special sessions should be reserved for emergencies. The president's desperation to maintain a U.S. House majority by stacking the deck in favor of Republicans does not constitute an emergency. Republican State Representative Craig Haggard, who's running for Congress in Indiana's 4th District, initially said he was against it because he had not heard from constituents who wanted a special session. But now he said he's undecided after telling 13 News he's heard from more constituents who are in favor of it. Democratic House Minority Leader Phil Giaquinta issued a statement Monday saying Democrats haven't heard from their constituents in favor of special session, saying in part, quote, we haven't heard from anyone hoping their lawmakers will use their tax dollars to come back for a special session to redraw our congressional maps. Governor Braun saying the decision is not his alone.
I'm not going to call one unless there is going to be general agreement that we need to.
And Indiana Democrats issuing a statement tonight on redistricting, calling this a blatant shoplifting attempt, an attempt to shoplift 2 congressional districts, saying that theft is a crime. So far, only Representative Haggard has told 13 News that he plans to take that trip next week to D.C. at the invite of the White House. Governor Braun saying he will not be part of the trip. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Want to give you a live look at downtown Indianapolis on what is going to be a hot and humid Monday evening. We do have some relief in sight, which is good news. Angela's tracking that, plus our next chance for storms.
Yeah, we had a few storms today. We've got a few more in the forecast tomorrow. And yes, a break from the 90s is coming.
We'll take that.
In the 7-day forecast. Let's take you outside where, for the most part, it's dry. There was a little complex of storms that rolled through parts of central Indiana during the afternoon hours. What's left of that still producing a little bit of rain southwest of Bloomington. So think in between Bloomington and Bloomfield. Also watching a few storms across the northern sections of Illinois. That's where we find a severe thunderstorm watch in effect at this hour. At this point, we're not expecting much redevelopment over the next several hours. It would be after midnight into early tomorrow morning for our next chance. Heat index values impacted with the cloud cover and that rain that moved from basically Lafayette through the west side of Indianapolis, and that's now south. Heat index of only 86 in Lafayette, but where we've had full sun most of the day, feeling like 100 in Bedford, feeling like 104 in Terre Haute. Continue to take precautions from the high heat, high humidity back into the upper 80s and low 90s tomorrow with some scattered storms around. You can see the wave developing early tomorrow and some additional storms tomorrow afternoon and evening.
All right, Angela, thanks so much. Tonight, a Bloomington mom and grandmother are now charged in connection to the death of a 3-year-old girl. 27-year-old Kira Braun and 50-year-old Melissa Hicks tonight are charged with neglect of a dependent. Police say they were called to an apartment on North Thomas Road earlier this month for a welfare check. When officers got there, they found the young girl unconscious and not breathing. The girl later died at the hospital. The mom told police the child slept in her bed, and when she woke up, the girl was not responding. In the courtroom tonight, a former Avon chiropractor finally learned his sentence today for sexually assaulting patients during treatments. But as our Rich Nye discovered in court, Rock Bird isn't going to jail, and he's not going home either.
By 6 p.m. Monday night, Rock Bird was due to report to Community Corrections in Hendricks County to begin serving 6 years work release. But his lawyers are already appealing whether work release was a legal sentence. The plea agreement called for no executed jail sentence for Bird. His lawyers argued through 3 separate sentencing hearings this year that work release was not an option for the judge. But Judge Daniel Zielinski ruled that it was and sentenced Bird to 1.5 years work release on each of 4 counts of sexual battery on patients at Bird's Cornerstone Chiropractic Clinic in Avon. There were at least double that number of victims. Several victims at the hearing wanted Bird to go to trial, but did not want to be identified.
I'm very happy that Rock Bird will be reporting to work release today. However, I'm very disappointed that the case is not going to trial and that a plea agreement of no jail time was accepted.
Bird can never seek reinstatement of his chiropractic license. In Danville, Rich Nye, 13 News.
Tonight we're getting new details on efforts to crack down on reckless driving here in Indianapolis. IMPD and state police tell us officers made 8 arrests, issued 11 traffic citations, recovered 2 stolen cars, and issued 2 ordinance violations over the weekend. Police also shared details of a Saturday night arrest on Enterprise Park Place near Keystone and I-70. Police tell us a black Challenger began spinning in a parking lot with a large crowd nearby. Police arrested the driver. Well, you may have seen a viral video capturing a march in downtown Indianapolis over the weekend promoting hateful ideologies like racism and anti-Semitism. Tonight, our Ashton Hackman talked with the person who captured it on camera and shares how local leaders are now reacting.
This small group of people in black clothing and face coverings marched on Monument Circle Saturday afternoon. 13 News is not showing the full video to avoid amplifying the group's hateful message. Nashawn Clay was nearby and shared the video.
I was just watching and I saw them come around the corner, and that's when I got up and I put out my phone and started recording.
Capitol Police spotted the group near the Indiana War Memorial. Indiana State Police troopers responded as the group started marching. In a statement to 13 News, Sergeant John Perrine said, quote, "Our charge is that of public safety and the protection of First Amendment rights. But make no mistake, that responsibility should not be misconstrued as an endorsement or support of the messaging brought by groups like this," end quote. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey added, quote, "But let me be clear, protecting those rights is not an endorsement of those beliefs. Not now, not ever," adding, "Hate has no home in our community. It does not define us and will never be welcome here," end quote. Clay approached the group and tried to send a message of peace.
I said, "I still love you," to the guy, to all of them. I said, "I love you, I still love you." It comes to a point that you have to still learn how to love others, but I feel like that comes with finding peace within yourself, to be able to come to terms with a person hating you right in your face and say, "Hey, I still love you."
The Anti-Defamation League says this year there have been 10 confirmed reports of anti-Semitic or hate speech incidents in Indiana, a number expected to rise as reports are thoroughly verified. That's down from 141 last year, but a problem experts say is becoming more common.
We're seeing it more and more across the country. There's an unprecedented rise in extremism that's fueling each one of these gatherings.
A gathering promoting hate speech catching attention in Indianapolis. Ashton Hackman, 13 News.